There was this interesting dilemma in Canada where a couple had a surrogate, right, that was supposed to give birth to their baby.
They has it.
They has it. But in the first trimester, a doctor revealed that that fetus was diagnosed with Down syndrome. So that baby was going to be born with Down syndrome. So the couple told the surrogate, look, we would like to abort this fetus because we don't want to have a baby with Down syndrome. And the surrogate said, no, I'm pro-life and I don't want to go through with the abortion. So the reason why this is interesting is because more and more cases like this are coming up as more and more people are turning to surrogates to have their babies.
No, that's super interesting. And so,
wait, why did it say why they needed a surrogate?
No, it didn't. And this couple's identity was also not revealed, of course, to protect them.
right. And look, of course, my guess is that they tried, you know, as with most people who go to surrogates, and they didn't work through the natural process. And so they go to a surrogate, and they never thought about it. As the article explains, they were so excited they were going to have a kid, and that they were, you know, finally had success, and the surrogate is pregnant, that they never bothered to make a clear agreement. And then they come to find out that she's pro-life, and what are you going to do?
I would think that almost any woman who would, you know, carry somebody else's baby would be pretty pro-life.
You know, I don't know. You know, you of course could enjoy the process and cherish it, etc., and still believe that, you know, that women have a choice in the matter. So I'm not sure that I, you know, agree on that as a generalization. But I don't know. But it turns out she was, right? And now I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah,
right?
neither do I. This is a really tough situation because, for instance, I'm pro-choice, right? But if somebody else is pro-life, then I'm not gonna. You know, I'm not going to force them to do something that they're against. Do you see what I'm saying?
Of course, you're pro-choice.
Exactly.
They get to have the choice.
Exactly. But in the case of a surrogate, that's not her child, and the couple no longer wants that baby because it's diagnosed with Down syndrome. So what do you do?
Well, it turns out that if the surrogate decides to keep it, right, will not abort, then it becomes their child. Okay.
Oh, really?
Right. So that's my understanding of the law in Canada.
In Canada, correct.
Okay. And so.
So anytime someone gets a surrogate in Canada, at any point that surrogate could say, "Nah, it's my baby."
No. Only if the couple says, we don't want it, please abort it, and the person says, no, I will not abort it, then they assume responsibility. Which, you know, maybe is a fair compromise. It's a hell of a tricky issue. And then, you know, people say, hey, listen, you should definitely have an agreement before you go into this situation, which makes all the sense in the world. But then it is also a contract, right?
It's a contract, right?
And it's contract for, in essence, a product. And now it gets really creepy when, you know, people are like, hey, but now it's a defective product.
Right.
You know, and you're like, oh, Jesus, you know, and it hurts the head to think about it.
There was one woman from the University of Calgary that said something that is very similar to what you just said. She says, should the rules of commerce apply to the creation of children? No, because children get hurt. It's kind of like stopping the production line. Oh, there's a flaw. It makes sense in a production scenario, but in reproduction, it's a lot more problematic.
It is. I think the assumption actually should be that if you're going to go into that process and the surrogate is pro-life, right, and you sign off on that, then no, you have to have the child no matter what, okay? And so if you don't want to risk that, I get it, then I'm sorry, then don't do it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I think that's fair, and should you ask, and they should be required by law to reach agreement on that, right? Because we don't want this gray area. This gray area is crazy, right? And why should the surrogate have to, you know, take care of the child? It's not biologically theirs. They were doing a service. They were doing something good for someone else. So you have to have an agreement beforehand, and if she's pro-life and you've signed on, no, you take the baby, okay?
Right.
And look, Down syndrome is really, really hard, but it's not the end of the world. And if you signed on to have a baby, okay, and you did it with someone who's pro-life, that's, you know, so you have to live with that. That's the decision you made. Now, if it's your own and you choose to abort, that's your choice. It's not my choice, right? But once someone else is involved, I think that's the way you got to go.
Right.